So in our first truth table example, you're going to see this mostly done already in your notes, but I wanted to go through on how exactly, and then I'm going to give you that last part for you to do here in a moment. So the equation that we have here is the most important part of, frankly, almost everything. The equation's what dictates how things and when they actually are done. The second part that actually dictates a lot of things in our truth table is actually the variables that we have, x, y, and z. Now, notice y shows up twice, but I only need to represent it once because, frankly, that's the same y for both of them. If there was a different variable, then we'd have to put in an a or a b or something of that nature, but we don't. So with this said, that's why I have a count of all the trues and falses between the three of them, because we don't know exactly what the setup's going to be. So I'm going to do all the possible combinations of trues and falses for those three variables that we have. So that's going over the equation, that's going over the table. Now, back to the equation, even though I'm about to do some work here, that the equation tells us what order things need to be done in, just like a normal math problem. So here we know the inner set of parentheses, we have to take care of x and y, y or z. Notice I didn't say this one. I said this branch or that branch. Now, I'm going to do it from left to right. So I'm going to take care of the x and y. Now, what does that mean? So I need to take care of x and y. Who am I completely ignoring is, frankly, z. Z is not in this equation at all, so I'm going to completely ignore z for right now. So I'm going to take a look. I'm going to do this one row at a time. Now, again, I'm forgetting about z. 0 and 0. Remember, with an and, I need both of them to be true, or ones, in order to be true. So as soon as I see a 0 for an and, I know it's a 0. So 0, there's a 0, there's a 0, there's a 0. Okay, now here's my first 1, but the other one's a 0. Same thing, but the last two are true. Also notice I'm going to be kind of precise on my columns here to make sure that they're, frankly, or I should say rows, that they're in line, so I'm going to screw this up. Now, I've taken care of, and bear with me here, I've taken care of this part of the equation. That part is done, and I'm just going to put a check mark for right now. Now I have to take care of the other part, which is this y or z. Now, who am I completely ignoring on this one? It'll be x. The y or z, or means I'm looking for the 1, but as soon as I see a 1, then the whole thing is a 1 or a true. Again, completely ignoring x. There's y or z, 0, 0, there's a 1. As soon as I see a 1 in either one of these two, then I know it's a 1. Now, I have taken care of this part of the equation. So the only thing that I really have left was this part, which I did here, and this part that I did here. So now I need to OR these two columns together. And again, that's where the OR came from. I took care of the first part of the answer, took care of the second part of the answer, and now I got to take care of the OR that really I'm going to OR the middle of those two. So what I want you to do right now is go ahead and finish that last column, and we'll go over and answer here in a second. Let's do this. Again, only focusing on these two columns because I've already taken care of. I'm not even worried about the x's and y's and all that stuff. Just worrying about those two columns. And again, I'm using an OR for this one. So one of the columns or the other, as long as it has an OR in there, or I should say 1, then the whole thing is 1. No 1s there. Definitely 1s for the rest of these. And that is your answer for the truth table for this particular equation.